beautiful people, I'm gonna try a live stream this morning, and if it doesn't work, I will go back and just shoot a video. What I'm trying to do today is talk about energy clearing. It's pretty important that you keep your energy clear, stay away from negativity, obviously, and I wanted to go into some more detail about energy clearing. So like I said, if nobody picks up on the live, I'll just shut it down and shoot a video. So this was unexpected, but I felt like it was needed, and maybe it was a good way to connect with people on a Friday, since people are off work for the 4th. Maybe there'll be some people tune in. What you think? What? Hey, will you fix me some coffee? Good morning, good morning, good morning. So I see I already have a thumbs up. Yeah, this morning we're going to talk about energy clearing, and this is some practices and some things that my education has taught me that I want to relay to y'all, as well as kind of clear up any type of things that people don't understand when it comes to energy clearing, when it comes to your chakras, when it comes to essential oils, when it comes to how your body operates. When we talk about emotions and we talk about holding on to negative emotions that eventually affect our physical health. It's really important that people understand that, okay? So, let's see, we've got 2 people in here. Could y'all please like and comment? That way I know who it is. And hit the thumbs up button. But we're gonna talk about energy clearing, and we're gonna talk about why it's important. We're also gonna talk about trauma and emotional effects that take place in the brain and how energy clearing helps that. So I was gonna do this on the heart, but you can do these energy clearing practices on any of the 7 chakra areas. And then I'm gonna go into a sale as well. So I have a couple of items on sale, as well as a 30% discount. So let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and just start giving the spiel, and as people come in, if you would just hit the thumbs up button or comment, you might get this later in the day. It's the 4th of July weekend, so I was thinking people would be off and be able to come in and ask questions. Okay, sorry. Anyway, all right, so let's go into energy clearing. Energy clearing is basically the practice of removing negative energies and balancing the energies that you have going on. And within your 7 chakras, you can do these energy practices. I also have some specific things to talk about when it comes to how to clear energy and the ways you can do that. So if we were to talk about energy clearing, when it comes to the crown, what, baby? Just cream, please. So when it comes to, let's start with the crown. Within your brain, within the crown area, you actually have your hippocampus and your amygdala. They're located basically in your temple area. And when you are an overthinker, when you're dealing with anxiety and when you're dealing with rushes of emotions, especially cortisol, stress, those things actually shrink. Your hippocampus is associated with memory and learning. So people who have been through a lot of stress and an overproduction of cortisol oftentimes will have lasting effects of not being able to remember things. Your amygdala controls emotional responses, and it helps to center the brain and how you perceive things. Controlled emotions. Trauma increases the amygdala's activation, causing greater fear response. So if you are already in a stressful environment and there's more stress added to it, you can end up with almost like that paranoia, fight or flight, those kind of things, due to continuous production of cortisol and stress. So in that will also lead to those stressful migraines. That will also lead to that overthinking. Here's a really good energy practice that you can do for your crown. If you are a woman, to clear the energy imbalance, you can go first in a counterclockwise motion, and you should repeat out loud just some basic The Bible says that there is power of life and death in the tongue. So just as we speak scripture over our life, protection over our children and our families, we should also speak positivity. So you can just simply say, I'm going to clear any negative energy. I'm going to clear any negative thoughts. And I'm going to clear anything that gives me false perceptions, including fear, including worry, including stress. I'm going to clear that out. And then to balance and smooth it out, you just go back in the clockwise motion over your head. You can also use, because the essential oils work on the limbic system, which are your amygdala and your hippocampus. You can also use, I've got, I actually take notes and make sure that I'm very astute as to what I'm telling you when it comes to my information, because I do not want to lead anyone astray. And do you know, I sure did. I left my notes at home. Oh well, that's okay. I've got 2 that I know for sure that I've used on myself, that I've used on others. So as well as just pronouncing any of that, I'm getting rid of negative energy. I'm clearing it out. I'm removing negative thoughts. I'm going to resist the urge to overthink. Go back in your clockwise motion. For a woman, you go counterclockwise, then clockwise. For a man, you go clockwise, then counterclockwise. And people will say, how does this work? You know, this just seems hokey pokey. When we were younger, and in the 80s especially, we had those TVs in our living room. You could walk by that TV after you turned it off, and you could feel the energy coming off, the electrical energy coming off of that TV for a couple of inches. You could feel that power that was there. Well, in those 7 areas that we call the chakras, we actually have those neurotransmitter receptors that are firing off our hormones. So there's a concentrated form of energy in those areas that radiates out several inches from your body. Whether you believe it or not, it's factual. Just like walking by that old TV and you could feel that energy and that power coming off of that TV, same thing for your chakras. You have those areas where there's a lot more energy being produced due to hormones, and it radiates out a few inches. That's why you can actually not even touch the body in those areas and balance that energy. Also, you're speaking things into life and existence and truth when you say things like, I'm refusing to hold on to negative thoughts. I'm going, you know, everybody knows what their own things are going on in their life, and you can cater your spoken word to clear out your own. I refuse to deal with, the overthinking. I'm going to clear this area out. I'm going to balance this area so that I can be clear-headed. My thoughts are pure. My thoughts are honest. My thoughts are truthful. For your third eye area, same thing. A woman would go into counterclockwise motion and then clockwise motion, whereas a man would do clockwise then counterclockwise. And it has to do with the difference in male and female and polarity and hormones and all that stuff. But for the third eye area and for the crown, your essential oils that I suggest are Euphoria, and I did put this on sale, and there's a code HEALING30 that you can use to get 30% off as well as the migraine relief. And in the Euphoria, you've got the rosemary and frankincense for pain, as well as in the migraine relief, it's designed for pain with wintergreen and peppermint and several others. Euphoria is one that I use for a perfume because it smells so good. The blend is just a specialty blend for an uplifted mood. So if you are dealing with negative thoughts, if you're dealing with overthinking, you can use those energy practices as well as the essential oils to help clear the area. The third eye relates to perception. It relates to truth. It relates to how, have you ever been in a situation where you perceived it one way, but it really wasn't that way? When you are overstressed and those hormones in that area are produced and that frontal lobe is affected, you can begin to fear, you can begin to perceive things as they are not. And you really should clear that area and make yourself basically resist the urge to interpret what you see as truth and find out the truth. So perception is a big way in which we cause our own stress. If we're perceiving something to be a certain way and we're living in fear, and it can even go into that fight or flight mode, and we're paranoia, not only does it affect our brain, it affects the way we think and perceive things long term, because we reduce the ability to think logically, clearly, and rationally when that prefrontal cortex begins to shrink. So, I hope this is making sense. A lot of information, but euphoria and migraine relief are two that you can use on the temples, and they directly affect that the limbic system. They go to work on that amygdala and that hippocampus. I mean, I've used it on people, I've used it on myself, very effective for both pain and to help calm the overhormone production and the stress. Let's go into the throat. If you have been experiencing throat pain due to being silenced, maybe you feel like you need to say something, you need to speak up, but you didn't. Or maybe whenever you did speak up or whenever you did say something, someone attacked you. Like your truth couldn't be heard, your side would never be right, whatever it is. Your seven chakras are emotional areas that release those hormones that will feel pain. You will begin to settle that pain into what will result in physical illness if you don't deal with it. All of this is science-backed. This is not hocus pocus. All of this is science-backed. It's just now that we can take ancient medicine, let's just say Chinese medicine, and we can relate it now with all the science that we have and technology that we have into how it... I've got my kids with me and they're having a desk chair race. Sorry. Anyway, when these areas are affected, hormones are produced, stress levels are high, you will feel pain in these areas. Don't deal with it long enough, it manifests into physical illness. So, in the throat area, this is an area that relates to, the spoken word, truth, being able to speak your truth. If you feel like you can't, if you feel like you are retaliated against, you'll feel a pain in that area. That pain will also usually relate down into the chest. If it's due to heartbreak, loss, grief, I've talked about this in the last 2 heart chakra videos, you will feel an actual pain in your chest. I think it's very, very truthful and honest to say anyone who's gone through grief, the loss of a loved one, maybe an extreme type of situation like relationship situation where there was a divorce or breakup, that unsettled hurt that you feel does take the toll on your heart. And I went over the last video, the physical effects, such as producing homocysteine and how that tears up your arteries, weakens your heart, things like that. But the cortisol hormone, homocysteine, that's produced, so taking care of these areas is part of emotional well-being that we don't want to turn into a physical ailment. So on your throat chakra, same thing for women as men. You've got that power that comes off, that radiated energy that comes out. For women, you rotate in the counterclockwise motion, and you can just say, you know what, I'm gonna speak my truth. I'm not gonna let myself be shut down, but I'm gonna speak truth. I'm not gonna speak unkind words. I'm not gonna speak things perceived. I'm gonna speak in truth. And everybody has a different situation, so you have to tailor your positivity and your clearing words to your particular situation. And then you rotate, if you're a woman, back to smooth it out and balance it without touching in that clockwise motion. Same thing for the heart area. Then these are practices that I put into place, as well as reading scripture, talking to God, speaking scripture over my life, and the essential oils. But for the throat, I use the Euphoria and I use Breathe. Breathe actually helps to open up the airways, but it helps to also open up the passages, lymphatic system in the throat, and move all that stuff out. So it's really good for basically opening and moving. And if you feel like you've been silenced, again, since those oils go to work on that limbic system, they directly have an effect on the emotions. What they actually help to do is stop those overproduced hormones. Does that make sense? So not only are you clearing out an energy field, speaking positivity over yourself, but then when you add the essential oils to it, you're calming. Essential oils have been proven effective at producing a good mood, lowering blood pressure, because they are effective. Now, they're not going to be as effective as if you have high blood pressure and you need to take medicine. So none of this needs to be taken as advice over that of a medical physician. If you are diagnosed with an illness or something like that, you need to listen to your doctor. This is to go along with. This is to help reduce emotional stress that turns into physical illness later down the road. But if you have already had to deal with a physical illness, you can do these practices to help reduce and kind of work backwards. There's just about nothing you can't go backward on and repair. There's a biological barrier that they started measuring illness by in Germany. Hey, Chi-Town Mountain, good morning. The biological barrier is measured on a scale of 1 to 6. Once you cross the biological barrier and you have passed company. Once you pass that biological barrier and you go past a 3 and you get into 4, 5, 6, you're getting into chronic illness, but it's still reversible. Once you get to a 5 or 6, it's almost not reversible. So like cancer, especially like a stage 4 cancer. As long as you're, say, on the scale from 3 below, you haven't crossed the biological barrier and it can still be corrected, usually with natural or holistic methods. But once you get up to the 4, you're probably on medication, you're probably dealing with something that's serious, you need to be listening to your doctor, and these are just things that you can put into effect with. My next video is going to talk about food. Interestingly enough, folks, listen to this. How did Satan first attack man? So I've been listening to some scripture reading and some preaching, and I already live very holistically, and my food intake is pretty healthy 9 times out of 10. However, I found it very interesting that Satan's first temptation of man was with food. Satan's first temptation of Christ was with food. There's several instances where food was used as the initial strike. So my next video, I know there's too much noise. There's people coming and going. This was just a prettier spot. Outside was really loud today, so I couldn't do it outside. I'm sorry. Can you still hear me? Are you still able to get the message? Everybody in here hit the thumbs up button. So my next video is going to cover food and how Satan's first temptation of man was with food. Satan's first temptation of Christ was with food. We are being poisoned with what? Our food supply. Food is a necessity, okay? And you know, Jesus referred to himself as the bread of life. Food is a necessity. And when our food is tainted, because that's not something we can go without, just like water or air, when our food is tainted and the effects that it has on our bodies, so my next video is going to talk on food, and then we're going to work our way, then I'm going to move into the solar plexus chakra, because the gut, you want to say hi? I got my kids here. Jackson's sitting here looking over my shoulder at y'all. Hey, Teresa. Okay. So we're dealing with clearing energy imbalances, and I don't know who in here heard, you can go back and rewatch it, but they're just like those old TVs that we used to have in the 80s, and you could walk by and you could feel that powerful energy coming off that TV, even though it was turned off. That's how your chakra areas are. There's an energy that radiates out a few inches, 4 to 6 inches off of your body, where it's not so powerful someone is going to feel it, but that's where your emotional energy is projected and is received in your body. That's why you hurt in those areas when someone says something hurtful, or when you're overthinking, or because you're having a hard time making sense of a logical, maybe you're dealing with cognitive dissonance. So your stress, your anxiety, your ADHD, you'll have, a headache, or if you're studying too much. So you have these areas that are affected by hormones, and when those producing area, when those hormones are overproduced, you will feel the pain in those areas. So we're talking about energy clearing. Teresa, I don't know if you remember Teresa. She said, "Hey Jackson." We met her at the Deep South Homestead Gathering one year. Well, it's a lady on YouTube. She's just checking in. She said hi. He said hey. So the energy clearing practices I put into effect are speaking positivity. You manipulate those energy areas. Women rotate counterclockwise with their hands. So we're going to say your crown. I'm just kind of reviewing for people that are getting in here. As you speak, I'm ridding myself of all negative thoughts. I'm ridding myself of all, if I'm doing the third eye, I'll do perception. I want to see things in truth. And you start with a counterclockwise motion, and then you go in a clockwise motion. If you're a woman, if you're a man, it's the opposite. Then, if you're dealing with continuous pain, you can use essential oils like rosemary and frankincense. But I kind of went over this a minute ago. The new one that I'm really using a lot of is Euphoria. I put it on sale, and I'm gonna do a shameless plug real quick. I have put my Super Salve because it's summer and I haven't really sold a lot of it. I have put this on sale. It's marked down $5, plus the code is Healing30 if anybody is interested. So you'd get $5 off plus use the code Healing30 and you get more. I also put my Happy Face on sale. The Happy Face and the Super Salve are both on sale because it's summertime and I like to keep rotating stock. Haven't sold a ton of it, so if anybody's interested in trying it, those are on sale. The Euphoria I'm talking up a lot because it was very effective on these chakra areas. It's also on sale. So if you want to check any of these out, you can use the code Healing30 to get the sale discount as well. Healing30, thank you. Yes, I remember. The kids may not remember, but I definitely remember. So those are a few items on sale. It's all in all Happy Face, Super Salve, Allergy Stop, Migraine Relief, and Euphoria. Those are some things that I want to get out, and I've marked them down, plus you can use the code. All right, so on the crown, the migraine relief, and I just went over, I'll say it again, how the amygdala and the hippocampus are affected by stress. They actually reduce in size, and that's where you are dealing with things like emotional control, your fear, that can go into something like paranoia, your fight or flight, your hippocampus associated with memory. So that's why people in extremely stressful environments who end up with PTSD also have memory loss. And your migraine relief is super effective. Your amygdala and your hippocampus are in your temporal area. So I have done this on plenty of people, including myself. You rub the migraine relief or the Euphoria, and the pain subsides. The overthinking subsides because it goes right into effect on that limbic system, which is the amygdala and the hippocampus are controlled by the limbic system. Third eye area as well. If anybody is interested, the third eye area and the Euphoria on sale. You can rub it right on, and as you massage it, that is where your perception is. That's where your rational thinking is. That's where your logic is. So when we are worked up emotionally, it's very hard to calm down, and it's very hard to think, am I perceiving this correctly? So it's almost like a guider of perception and truth. So if I'm unable to think clearly, make a logical decision on something, I always massage this area because it is affected immediately by the essential oils. But I clear the area as well with the rotation. Don't forget, those energetic areas are not hocus pocus. This is more like traditional medicine. It's traditional Ayurvedic medicine is what it is, instead of Chinese. Okay, so let's go. I went into the throat. If you want to try breathe, Healing30. Let's see, what else? And I wanted to touch on the heart. Next video is going to be on the food. Before we talk about clearing the solar plexus area and all the emotional responses and troubles that we have from stress in the gut, we're going to have a food video and how Satan used food as the first temptation of man. He offered Eve the fruit. First temptation of Christ, he said, I will, Christ had been fasting for 40 days. There's our number again. And Satan offered him food if he would bow down and worship him. Any suggestions for tinnitus? Absolutely. You can take the Allergy Stop because it is extremely, I also put this on sale because it's summer, it's something I want to move. It's on sale and you have that healing code 30. You can drop a few drops of this in olive oil or any light liquid oil, and you can put it on a Q-tip and put it in your ear. If you were to use something that has like mint in it or tea tree, it's gonna burn. So I would suggest the Allergy Stop because it's all calming. You've got cedar wood, you've got lavender, you've got, let's see. I started making these so long ago, I forget all the ingredients. You've got ylang ylang, and so you can put something very calming like this in a carrier oil and put it on a Q-tip and just swipe it into your ear. If you are thinking, and that will help your equilibrium as well. If you're having trouble with your equilibrium, you can definitely put some essential oils with a carrier oil in a Q-tip and just round it out. Sometimes it's just draining of extra fluid, or sometimes it needs to be calmed down. Good morning, y'all. Thank y'all for coming. I'm so glad so many people showed up. Hey, Jay Bird. Okay, so that is a good one for tinnitus. You can use the Allergy Stop. It's got the cedar wood and all the calming oils in a carrier oil. I had something else I wanted to talk about. So we covered the throat, the heart chakra. So if you are trying to clear out emotions of grief with the same areas, men start in a clockwise motion, women go in and y'all, I've learned this from a Christian institution. It's Trinity Institute of Natural Health. They are a Christian institution. They have just figured, they have been the ones that have done the due diligence and put the science and modern medicine to some ancient medical practices. But what you do is men start in clockwise, women start in counterclockwise, and you rotate over that area where that energy is radiating, and you clear, and you just say, I'm going to release all feelings of negativity that caused me pain, that caused me grief, that have brought feelings of betrayal, anything that you have dealt with that has actually, you can feel that hurt. Okay, so the stress hormones have been produced. You're probably overproducing cortisol. You're probably producing the homocysteine that just rips through your arteries and your heart like barbed wire. Then you end up with high cholesterol because the body puts pockets of fat in those areas where you've got those tears. So it starts out as an emotional problem that's not dealt with, turns into a heart problem. Add to that any foods that you're eating that are not very healthy, and then you've got a whole spiral downward of how it's affected. Grief, love loss, heartache, brokenheartedness, betrayal, all of those in that heart area. And so emotions directly affect physical health. But I thought that was very interesting. I did learn that in school. Yeah, definitely try it. Allergy Stop, the Super Salve, the Happy Face, and the Euphoria. Oh, and I did put the hair growth stimulator on sale too. So all of that is already on sale. And then you put the code HEALING30, you got a little extra off. But Euphoria and heart health is what I do. And again, you can actually, any of these areas where you feel like there's trapped emotions that you just can't seem to get over, you just can't seem to get rid of, you can pull, you don't have to touch, pull out and say, you know what? I'm going to rid myself of all feelings of negativity. I'm going to rid myself of all heartache. I'm going to rid myself of all feelings of betrayal. what someone else has done or an event that's happened outside of yourself is not your fault, is not your problem. And though it leaves us with a lasting impression, let's just say even a loved one dies, we're going to feel that grief, but we can't carry it around all day, every day. And when we live with it in a long-term way, it will affect our physical health. And so I'm gonna just release all that, and you just cast it down to the ground. And it seems so silly and so, I don't know. The ancient practices, because we're not used to them in the Western world, seem silly, but they're factual and they're proven. So I keep giving this is the best way I know how to describe it. Your phone absorbs and sends out energy signals, whether it doesn't have a cord, whether you feel it or not. Your body does the same thing. In fact, the computer and the cell phone were designed off of your body's makeup, how your body operates, whether that's energy, emotions, your electrical system, your code, your DNA code. The computer and the phone were designed after a human body and how we operate. What are your thoughts on taking nattokinase cleansing out your arteries? That is a really good idea. Yes, that is a really good idea. It's hard to say, I don't know if you have a physician that you see and where your arteries are right now, but reducing stress is going to be the most important way to keep your arteries clean, because it's that homocysteine that's produced that causes high cholesterol to build the plaque up in your arteries. And I wish modern day physicians would tell people this, but if we solve a problem, they're not coming back in for the medicine. And not all physicians see it that way. Some of them just generally don't know. They just don't understand, like how stressful production of cortisol affects the body. But if we lowered our stress level, I'm a firm believer in, since I've been to AA, applying the concept of removing people, places, and things that bring toxicity into your life. You can say that about someone who goes to recovery. Why don't we say that in our life in general when it comes to our mental, emotional, and spiritual health as well, physical health? You got to get rid of those nouns, people, places, and things. And those things that cause us stress. And it may not be that you need to permanently remove someone from your life. It may just be for a time, or it may just be that I had a marriage counselor that I saw at one time with someone, and the best way they could describe how to keep their mental and emotional health going in an environment that they felt was damaging to that and their marriage, they did not spend more than 30 minutes around their family at any one point in time, because their family were very stressful to be around. They had a history of alcohol and drug use, and they felt like the negativity that those people were putting off affected their emotions, their stress level, their marriage. So they just set a time limit. They just held a boundary. They said, okay, I love my family. I'm not going to not have anything to do with them, but I'm only going to be around them even at Christmas or holidays, like say for 30 minutes to an hour. That's it. Because any longer than that, the negativity comes out, the accusations come out, the problems come out, the drama comes out. So setting boundaries is crucial to keeping your stress level down. Yeah. So and if you are also dealing with with something in your heart like plaque, clogged arteries, and you're also dealing with high blood pressure, you've got to be drinking water, because as that plaque and that cholesterol are being flushed out, you need to be walking, you need to be getting some type of exercise, even if it's yoga. They suggest yoga for people that are like wanting to kind of reconnect both emotionally and spiritually with their exercise. I like a hard workout. I like a run or a brisk walk and weights. But if you did that, at least it's something, or a light, gentle walk. But you need to be drinking water, you need to be getting good exercise, you need to be watching those hydrogenated oils. no fats that are hydrogenated or trans fats or whatever they're calling them nowadays, and stick to fish, because the fish oils are extremely good for helping to repair those torn areas in your arteries. Get some EFAs, some essential fatty acids, take fish oil, but instead of using the saturated and hydrogenated oils as fats that are going to build up in those areas, those liquid oils are safer to eat and your body will use those to repair those areas. I hope that makes sense. Oh, thank you, Teresa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yes, stick to the liquid oils, olive oil, stick to fish. I mean, I eat fish every day, almost every day. That's my new go-to because it's so high in protein, it's so low in fat, and it's got so many good things going for it. Folate. Most of us do not understand we can't absorb these B vitamins unless they're either in liquid form and or methylated. So that's another good thing. Make sure you're boosting your energy with B vitamins that are liquid and methylated. All right, so energy practices. I think I went over that for women and men, and how to clear, speak positivity, pull out to remove. You don't even have to touch. And then definitely try the Euphoria. It's something that I'm like addicted to now. I carry it in my purse, and when I have a stress headache, I use it. When I need to clear an emotion that has my heart over pumping, I use it. Or I use it for perfume. I put it on my arms and my clothes before I go to work. Yep. Do y'all have any other specific questions of, like, let's say an area or an emotion that you might be dealing with that is causing you pain? I think one reason why I love the Euphoria is because it has the rosemary and the frankincense in there to help deal with the pain. And so even if it's something that's just stressing you out, like a job, or maybe you got bad news about something and you're overthinking, or you feel your heart racing, you can put that on directly and feel a sense of calm and good mood with the grapefruit and other things in there. Ylang ylang. But if you have any questions, holistic counseling, look me up. It's missysnaturals.com. And when someone asks a question that's like, hey, what about nattokinase for clearing out my arteries? And then I'm like, that's where I kind of like want to do a holistic counseling session, because I kind of want to dig further. Like, what's your particular situation? Are you fixing to have surgery and stents put in? Is that where we're at? Or is it just that you've been, diagnosed with a little bit of blockage and some high blood pressure? That's another thing, y'all. Essential oils, because they are immediately effective, help to lower blood pressure. They've been proven, whether you use them aromatically or put them directly on an area. Essential oils are really good, like tops. Now, I'm not saying don't take your medicine. Go to a doctor, listen to your physician, do what you got to do. But generally speaking, especially when it's like a real quick stressful thing, essential oils help to lower blood pressure so well that, there's a lot of science back there behind it. But I think I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I've got my children. I'm going to spend some time with them. And I thank y'all for watching. Let's see. Super Sab, I need to get rid of some of this. Happy Face, need to get rid of some of this. The Euphoria, all of these are on sale. Also, the Allergy Stop, it's summer. Might as well go ahead and get it out there. And you can use it for tinnitus. There's so many different ways you can use essential oil, even if it's a blend for a specific thing. You can use it for something else based on its ingredients. But those are on sale. And the code is Healing30, so you get two discounts, basically. If you're just getting in here, I'm about to wrap it up. We've been on for 40 minutes, and I need to go spend some time with my children. I hope y'all have a blessed day. Thank y'all very much for watching. And yeah, if you're interested in holistic counseling, that's going to be under a tab of its own, missysnaturals.com. And I'd love to speak to y'all further, get in depth. Y'all have a blessed day. Thank you so much, Teresa, for being the mod. Oh, thank you. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful 4th of July weekend.